i poca richesse geometricznych komediach, licencji, civil.
May 15, 1936. A recent meeting with the Sam household results in the new prime minister being appointed, his name Felician Sławoj Skłodowski.
Skłodowski is a military man, having led men in the Polish legions of World War I, when Poland was still a region split between the German Empire under the Kaiser and the Russian Empire under the Tsar. He also studied medicine in the Jagiellonian University in Krakow, which led him to being elected as head of the Polish Military Health Service and similar positions in politics later. Skłodowski's appointment to prime minister comes from the death of previous prime minister Józef Piłsudski. The split of Piłsudski's supporters to Ignacy Mościcki and Edward Rydz-Śmigły allowed sort of door to be open to Skłodowski and his plot to secured as prime minister by the Polish Socialist Party. Ignacy Mościcki came to power through Józef Piłsudski when he was still head of state and considered the father of the Second Polish Republic.
Under the new appointment of the prime minister, reconstruction of Poland can begin again. Throughout the 1930s, the colonel's regime uses their control over most of the government to build Poland into an industrialized nation.
Poland's arrival as a new nation is plagued by the treatment of the previous beholders of the land. The currencies accepted in Poland tally to 5, destruction from fighting the Great War, and expectation from previous empires all compiled into a fragile new nation in the world. On top of this, Poland's arrival is met with the Great Depression, one of the biggest economic recessions in history. Poland was also unevenly developed as the west side under the German Empire and Prussia it was heavily industrialized and most of the infrastructure was focused on the side of Poland. The east side, however, was not treated as well by the Russian Empire as most of the production was in agriculture and many population hubs weren't connected with roads or railways. Even the infrastructure in the west wasn't the best, as Warsaw and Krakow, the two biggest cities in Poland, were connected by railroad until 1934. Safe to say, this government led by generals of the army had a lot of work to do.
The first move of the Second Polish Republic was to create a common currency, the zloty. This currency would remain stable and would help with mass hyperinflation. The next steps would be through the 4-year plan under economist Eugeniusz Kwiatkowski. The 4-year plan's main goal is to industrialize, improve infrastructure, and expand the Polish economy. This will start on July 1st, 1936 and won't finish until June 30th, 1940, well into German Soviet occupation. The plans would be carried out by the current Prime Minister Kwiatkowski. He would constantly be in the rural villages, seeing to civil services and police forces expanded, infrastructure built, and constantly touring places like schools.
The next step in this 4-year plan was rearmament and expansion of the military. This became needed as German and Soviet aggression were more apparent to the Polish people in later years. Forced conscription for eligible citizens above 21 years old was already in order since 1921, but the military needed better equipment. These attempts were limited as Poland lacked industrial requirements to mass-produce guns and vehicles, along with the plan to get support from the Allies as soon as possible. Attempts to buy vehicles were limited as the French and British couldn't sell many vehicles to the Polish. By the outbreak of the war, Poland would have nearly 1 million soldiers active with 1,000 armored vehicles, 200 to 300 tanks, and 745 airplanes. This wouldn't be enough for 2 major armies pressing on 4 quarters of Poland, and any support from the Allies would never arrive to the Polish people.
Opposition to the government wasn't uncommon, even with the goal of improving Poland. August 17, 1937, Kolbazoa. The celebration of the holiday of peasant deed occur in this market square in eastern Poland. The people enjoy the celebrations. The market is full of people buying and selling. The sound of hundreds of marchers fill the air as people turn their attention to the marches. This is one of the gatherings of the 1937 peasant strike that will go on until August 25th. The Polish peasants, with support from Ukrainian and Belarusian farmers, timed the perfect strike when food supplies would be low and stopped any trade routes to the industrial zones from the farmers, cutting off the food supply. The goal of this was to stop the influence that the current political bodies have on the government. The strikes led to thousands of arrests, with nearly 1,000 separate peasants being put in prisons for 5+ years. The strikes wouldn't affect the political body, and later strikes were planned but would be cancelled as the presence of the German threat would cause more unification of the Polish people.
1939 is the final chapter of Polish rebuilding, as German aggression was shown being directed towards Poland. Hitler's main goal is to acquire Danzig from Poland in his goal for Lebensraum out east. Poland, seeing what Hitler truly wants for their land, acquired a military alliance with the United Kingdom and France on May 31, 1939. The final days before World War II have Polish leadership moving units to key locations, preparing defensive lines, and getting as prepared as possible for the upcoming war. Then, on September 1, 1939, at 4:45 in the morning, German dreadnoughts opened fire on Polish defensive fortifications in the Free City Danzig. This is the first battle and event of the German invasion of Poland.
The invasion of Poland will last 35 days, ending on October 6, 1939. 2 weeks into the invasion of Poland, we'll see the Soviets move in on the east with the Red Army, securing the fate of Poland in World War II. Key figures of the Polish government will escape to countries like Romania and the UK. A puppet government is set up, and a government in exile is set up out of the UK and will command forces to continue the fight. Poland is not yet lost.